I am the most hated guy on Raptors Twitter, apparently, and this is talking about the top 10 richest NBA players ever. So, Michael Jordan is so super rich, if he dropped a $100 bill, it would cost him more money to stop and pick it up than to just keep walking. That is how much his time is worth. I'm just gonna follow MJ around, wait for him to drop money. It's a weird job, and I might get arrested for following him around, but I'm okay with it. But we all know that MJ is rich as anything. The thing that surprises me is the number 2 richest player ever. Nobody really talks about him. I mean, I read his name and I had to go look him up. I had no idea who he was when I looked at this top 10 list. Apparently, the secret is what they do after basketball. I mean, NBA players make a lot of money, but that is not how you get on the top 10 list. MJ included. I mean, he makes $130 million a year just from Air Jordans. That's as much as Kyrie makes his whole contract take that flat. Earther, everyone acts like they know everything. We know something and there's no such thing as knowing. There's no knowing anything. Thank you, ergo know. It's a flat earth. So I want to count down the top 10 richest NBA players ever and talk about how they got so rich. And actually, 2 of these guys are really going to surprise. You. So tied for 10th is both Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant at a net worth of 170 million. Players make a lot of money on the court, but a lot of them spend it, right? And so D Wade has made 196 million from basketball. He makes $12 million a year from some shoe company called Li Ning. And his wife, Gabrielle Union, has a net worth of 40 million bucks. KD has made 265 million from basketball, and he makes 26 million a year with Nike. Number 9 is Hakeem Olajuwon at 200 million, 100 million playing basketball, and then he had a shoe deal with Spalding of all companies, but he left money on the table so that he could make his shoes cheap for poor kids and middle-class kids, which I think is awesome now. Hakeem is super religious, and I think it's so cool that he's made the top 10 list, even though making choices like that would probably not be the best for his net worth, but he does it. Anyway, so 10 million from a clothing line, $90 million in buying and selling buildings, and that's like a huge way that guys make money, but he only makes like really safe building investments because his religion says he can't charge extra money and he can't pay extra money, which is crazy. But what's even crazier, and this is actually like really messed up and sad, is that he put money into the World Trade Center in 1998, which was 3 years before 9/11's, and then he sold it 2 years later. So just before 9/11's, Hakeem Olajuwon put money into the World Trade Center and then sold it. Crazy number 8 is David Robinson at a little over 200 million. He made 110 million playing basketball, and the rest is he started 2 companies that help other companies grow, and he gives away 10% to charity. It's so crazy that these guys make the top 10 lists, even though like making charity a really important thing in their lives. And David Robinson actually, after he went through school at the Naval Academy, he went and worked in the Navy instead of going to the NBA. He literally cut off a couple of his money-making years and made it harder for him to get to his best earning years so that he could keep his Navy promise. So like, to me, it is awesome that guys who put other things ahead of their net worth still making the top 10 list. Number 7 is Grant Hill at 250 million. He made 140 million playing basketball, and the rest is from something called Hill Ventures, which is a company that buys and sells big buildings, and randomly he's on the board of directors at Campbell's Soup. Like, how does that even happen, right? He actually has like the coolest life, right? All the soup he could want, rich as anything, and he is on TV just talking about the game. So I think like if anyone has done after basketball, right, it is Grant Hill, tied at number 5. Vinnie Johnson and Shaq at 400 million. And that's right, Vinnie Johnson, what, like so random, right? He only made $6 million playing basketball. So this is the first guy who it's like you would not expect to be on this list. So this guy and the guy at number 2 that we'll get to, like, their basketball money is nothing compared to their total money. it's almost like basketball was just something that they did early in their life because they were so good at it, and they took that little nest egg, huge by our standards, but from NBA standard to make 6 million is not that much. They took that little nest egg and like made it as big as possible, right? It's the opposite of those sad stories we hear about guys going broke with their money. Like these guys did the exact opposite. They saved, and what he did was he put money into and created Piston Group, which helps make cars, which is so crazy because he played for the Pistons and he was like inspired by the city. Shaq also is tied here. So 285 million for basketball shoe deals commercials. And I didn't know this, he owns a ton of restaurants, 155 Five Guys, 40 24-hour fitnesses, 17 Auntie Anne's Prep. If you've ever eaten at one of those, good chance like one of your dollars went into Shaq's pocket, 150 car washes, 9 Papa John's, and 1 Krispy Kreme. Gotta love it. Number for LeBron James at $500 million, 340 million. He's made with basketball, but then he got a $1 billion lifetime deal from Nike. But with these shoe deals, normally we break them down into how much they make per year. So if Nike gave him $1 billion for the rest of his life, I figure, okay, if he lives 60 more years, that would make him 96 years old. He's in really good shape. Okay, if he lives 60 more years, that's 16.5 million per year for the rest of his life. He could literally do nothing else and make 16.5 million a year. He also made 30 million bucks when he sold his part in Beats headphones, 30 million. And he only had 1% of the company. Think about how that's why Dr. Dre is a billionaire right now. Tied at number 2, here it is, Junior Bridgman and Magic. Each have $600 million. So let's talk about Bridgman first because he is even more amazing than Vinnie Johnson, right? Only $4.2 million playing basketball. That's it. His highest ever yearly salary was in like the hundreds of thousands, which is like a minimum contract today. So the way he became the number 2 right behind Michael Jordan was he took some of that money before he stopped playing and he bought a Wendy's. He bought a Wendy's fast food place, and then he would work behind the counter in the off season like while of his teammates were off on vacation, and after he stopped playing, he bought one more, and then every year after that, he bought 10 more Wendy's, 10 more Wendy's, then he started buying 10 Chili's here, 10 Chili's there, and he would still work behind the counter. He would be making fries, like almost 7 feet tall or whatever, and people would be like, what? And they thought he was like some old NBA player who's having money problems, just trying to make a dollar. In reality, he owned the place and like hundreds of others. And so in 2016, he sold them all back to Wendy's and Chili's, who bought him back for $530 million. Pretty cool. Magic only made $40 million playing basketball. The rest is through putting money into things with Magic Johnson Enterprises. And so Magic Johnson Enterprises owns movie theaters, although I don't see those Magic Johnson theaters around anymore. I don't know if you guys do, but he also bought a part in the Lakers and he bought a part in the Dodgers, which he sold. But one of Magic's biggest money moves is he bought in with Starbucks like early on before Starbucks really became huge. Super smart move. But number 1, of course, is Michael Jordan. But hold up, there's something that I did not expect to see originally. His net worth was $2 billion a year ago, but now it's $1.6 billion, which still has him on top of the top 10 list. But the pandemic really hit MJ hard. Like he lost a ton of money, $600 million, which is the net worth of the number 2 guys, right? That's how much he lost. So he only made $90 million playing basketball. He gets $130 million a year from Nike, obviously, because of Air Jordan. And then the rest of it is from owning the Hornets, which have gone up in value big time, and then also from a NASCAR team that he owns. No one knows exactly why MJ lost all that money, but this is an idea people have of why MJ lost $600 million during the pandemic. So his partner in the Hornets is a guy who owns a hedge fund, and it was one of those that took a huge hit with the GameStop thing. So a bunch of people on Reddit saw that these rich Wall Street hedge funds were betting that GameStop would go out of business. So they bought GameStop and shot the stock way up, which almost made these hedge funds go out of business. One of those was MJ's partner in the Hornets. So this hedge fund needed like hundreds of millions of dollars in cash just to stay alive, right? So the idea is MJ basically gave this dude like a bunch of money to keep the hedge fund alive. That's insane. But so is this video about Shaq, because not a lot of people know this, but Shaq actually had his best game ever, 61 points. He's been telling the story about it for years, but it turns out we just found out he's been lying about that story.